just sent us their accounting report. They'll send us a Christmas card.
Pledge allegiance.
Okay, call meeting to order. We'll begin with the pledge of allegiance.
I think he's ready. Thank goodness.
I got tested too.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome everybody to our first meeting. I'm presiding over this meeting. Normally it would have been Luke Thomas until we reorganized, but as Vice President, I am presiding at this time. Our next item on the agenda, first of all, I'd like to welcome Randy Cole, who is our newest council member, replacing Luke Thomas. So,
Welcome aboard.
hopefully we'll have a good working relationship.
I'm just a little older than him.
Yeah, you could be his grandpa too.
Grandpa, that's for you, Dave.
Yeah. Okay, our next item is adopted agenda. I think we have one addition, Form 144 Assessor's Office. So we'll add that. And at this time, I'm going to switch around. Oh, first I need a motion to adopt this agenda.
You ain't done this for a while.
If there's no additions to the agenda, I'll make the motion that we adopt the agenda as presented.
Well, there is one
With the
addition.
What?
There is one addition.
With the one addition.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. Okay, at this point, we will do our reorganization, and we need to,
Comments from.
Yeah, we're gonna go.
we're going to switch the comments from the public. I'm switching 3 and 4 around. So at this time, I would entertain nominations for president.
I'd like to nominate David Achen as president. I'll second it.
I guess we can vote on it now. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Motion carries 7-0.
Congratulations, David.
Yeah, thank you. What I always wanted.
Hey, you've done this before.
I know. I gotta get back into the groove.
Yeah, you gotta get back to the groove.
So at this time, I'll entertain motions for vice president.
I'll make a motion we elect Earl Williams.
I'll second it.
All those in favor of Erla, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries 7-0.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Erla.
Thank you. You don't have to change seats. I think.
Are we going to do the meeting scheduled now, David, also?
Yes, we are. That's
Thank
next,
you.
right there. Meeting scheduled for 2022. Right now, we're meeting the 4th Thursday at 5 o'clock,
With exceptions.
with exceptions. Tonight, it's not the 4th Thursday.
And I know you had made it 5 because of my work schedule, but since my schedule has changed, if you guys want it to meet earlier, it's fine.
I would like to keep it at 5 o'clock for the public, if that's all right.
I'm wide open, five's fine, it don't matter.
I think more of the public probably can attend. Of course, we do have the
Yeah,
capability now where they can,
Right.
yeah.
it's live streamed, but still, I'm okay with 5.
I'm okay with any time.
I'm okay with
That's
Except
fine.
midnight.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Gives
just
you more
saying,
sleep. Yeah, I
well,
know.
I'm just saying that we changed it because of my
Right,
work
yeah.
schedule, the
Right.
time, so.
Well, and
if you
I
guys
think the
wanted to do it
recycling is still
early.
going to stay on a 4 o'clock time
Okay.
period before this
yeah.
meeting, so that we'll throw that.
I wouldn't want to go away earlier because it does limit some people in the audience who
Yeah.
are working except for public, so.
Right.
Do we need a motion for that, David?
Yes.
I'll make a motion that we do the 4th Thursday at 5 p.m.
I
for our
second.
meeting,
Okay. Motion
With
made.
exceptions.
with the exceptions of holidays.
Motion made by Charlie, second by Erla. Any discussion further? If not,
Who's second, Cal?
Erla.
Okay.
All those in favor of the meeting schedule as presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries 7-0. Okay, and at this time, we had comments from the public. I think we have one here on the Jim Carter,
I'll take 4 minutes.
2 minutes.
The reason I'm here tonight is you just got the information that I gave, and basically that's the actual plan, the bridge plan that I gave to the Animal Control Board. I gave to the mayors, and all the police chiefs, the police departments, and the sheriff department, and it's basically a detail of the plan that I proposed to open up the shelter and an animal control officer and a procedure to do so. But the reason I'm here tonight is on page 7 of that. When you get to page 7, one of the biggest problems we have, and by the way, there's other from the information I got, I'm hoping that Harrison County, Mrs. Shelby, is going to propose a plan adopted, and I'm all for that. I'm all for doing anything to get the shelter and animal control officer. But the reason why it's page 7, there's 2 parts of page 7, one and the second part of that. So there's another page. I hope there's a second page, 2 pages, 7 there I missed. Anyway, page 7 deals with the major cat problem, and the Cannleton and parts of Tell City have a tremendous cat problem, and the major problem that I see is that nobody's came up with any way to be able to curtail the breeding of alley cats or feral cats, and there's no way no one has showed a procedure to be able to identify. Well, the procedure that the Humane Society gave out, like I said, close to 9 years ago, was exactly how to do that, and I'm going to adopt that. But the problem with this is to be able to control the cats, you have to have a knowledge of how many cats you've got. And the only way to do that is, that I can see, and I'm hoping anybody else could come up with a better plan, is that you have to be able to have the ability to license. And the only way we can license, as you know, in cats and dogs, is the county option dog tax. And that's the main reason I'm here, is for you to start considering that. I'll probably come to you in the next 2 or 3 months, and that's okay. I'll come back to you in a couple months to explain to you why that's needed, the procedure. In the past, when the county option dog tax was promoted, they was talking about, oh my gosh, this is going to open up a huge amount. I've heard every kind of term, what it's going to cost. And the reality, if you look at the figures, which I've done the figures many times, it's actually going to be very reasonable and is not as much as people would think. So I know it's the wrong time to approach that now, and that I would like for you to give a copy to that, if Pam can make a copy eventually and give that to each person, because it's time to really look at how we're going to control the cats, and there's a basic, like I said, abridged discussion of how we do that. And once we license, then let's just use Cannleton. I'm going to use Cannleton as an example. We could go to the individual homeowner, and maybe they're feeding 10 cats, okay? And this is probably in 30 different locations that I've spotted so far, probably more. And they can just make, whenever they do license, they're going to say, are these your cats? Now, obviously, what happens is when all at once, and they're saying, you're required to license your cats. And they'll say, okay, these 2 are cats. Well, then the other 8 cats, you identify those cats. Once they're identified, then you know which cats you do not trap. Like I said, it's at that point we've got to do something serious, and it's things that I don't want to have to say. And I'm not now an officer of the Humane Society anymore. I retired from that, so I can come up to the public and say, look, we're at a point now where we've got to do something. And the plan that I've got forward goes with the actual ability to count cats, because I've already did it scientifically. And I know Cannleton, the mayor of Cannleton, is very frustrated over cats and dogs that are running loose, and it's time that we do something. So the plan that I put forward is, I'm very malleable with that. I'm hoping that you look at that and you see things in red line, anything you don't like, and get together at, at your leisure.
So are you willing to provide this document to all council members?
Yes,
Okay,
yeah, at your leisure.
okay.
So-
David, I have a question for Jim. Back when that ordinance was written, there was a thing about a dog tax,
Mhm.
and the council decided not to put an amount in there. But during the discussion, were cats ever brought up? Because all I've ever heard is a dog tax.
Well, the dog tax, that's correct, but see, and the reason why we're talking about the dog tax is because in order to actual license, you have to have a county option dog tax. That's
Right, but
politics of Indiana.
I've never heard cats included in that. It's just always been dogs.
No, the licensing, I'm not talking about a cat tax, I'm talking about in the licensing system of Section 2. See, we can't, Section 2 was put in reserve
Right.
because, and they put it in reserve, as far as I'm concerned, by mistake, because there's two parts. There's an A part, which is license, and second parts, which is permit. We could have still provided permits, but I don't see no need for that, because that's another big ball of wax. But we can go back to licensing, and it explains to you the exact amount. And for instance, if you had, people don't realize this, but if you had, in the licensing, when a person's over 65 and they got like one dog, there is no charge. There is no cost to the charge of that, okay? But that's the dog tax as opposed to the licensing, which includes cats. And like I said, I would have to go to, if I was just, say, the person that was going out for Cannleton, that's, Cannleton says, okay, you're going to be and do this, you're going to go out and find it, talk to these people. I identify the cats that they own. And as soon as you say, okay, this is what the tax is, obviously most people will say, wait a minute, those are not my cats, they're just alley cats that I'm feeding. So I say, okay, is this your cat? And when they identify those cats, then we can actually have the ability now with the computers to take the pictures of those cats, so we know for sure when they're trapped that we're not trapping the wrong cats, okay? And if we do trap their cats, then they're identified and that person comes and gets them, and you can, do with whatever. But we've got to identify cats that are not, that are
But
feral.
the dog tax considers, cats are underneath that too.
No,
As-
no, the reason why
Yeah.
the state says, in order to license, and the license is on Section 2 of our animal control ordinance, first you have to pass a county option dog tax. There's no cats involved with that at all. So we can't license because the state says we can't license. We can't create a licensing system even though our Section 2 has it. So the first thing we have to do is pass a county option dog tax, and then we have to go back to the commissioners and say, okay, we would like to have Section 2 reevaluated and come up with a plan, go to the Animal Control Board, which is one reason that I wanted to get on the Animal Control Board, is because I did a lot of studies on this. So I'm just saying that, think about it, and I'm not trying to push it on you. I know it's, talking about taxes is not a bad word, but I can use it, I'm a person I'm not a politician, so I can use it. And I don't like the fact that the state has put this on our shoulders, and I think it should have been deleted a long time ago.
Jim, I've got one question for you.
Sure.
Is this tax for revenue, or is it basically for registration of the
But-
animals? And secondly, what kind of revenue are you expecting to gain?
I did a complete study on that whenever this first came out. I did it actually township by township, how many
So
licensed.
what did you come up with? I'm not
We
going
would,
round numbers.
very, very small. Approximately,
Okay.
we will get less than $4,000.
Okay, so my question then, if the council would come forward with $4,000,
Mhm.
then you wouldn't be required to collect from the individuals.
If you,
And
if.
we also
right.
could possibly put limits on what we're willing to subsidize, 2 cats, 1 dog, whatever we do, so that you don't have the burden of trying to collect $5 from different individuals for the cat or whatever. But if I'm understanding correctly, and if I'm not, please correct me, you're trying to register these animals so you know what animals to pick up
Correct.
and take care of.
Correct.
Because we have just way too many
Correct.
cats primarily
Correct.
running the streets.
And there's
So,
two- right.
I'm just thinking, the burden of trying to manage all these funds collected and all this here, if we could sidestep that some way for a nominal amount, it might be more
I
palatable to the
absolutely
citizens.
agree with you, and I would love to talk to you about that, because there is procedures to do that, but every time I offer these procedures, I'm usually kind of thwarted immediately. So when I talked to actually the Animal Control Board, immediately, they couldn't believe that we did an accurate count, but actually, I did this actually scientifically, just like when you when you went to college and when you counted how many fleas were in a square, you figured out, and just happens to be that Tell City, the old part of Tell City, which was the part we covered, is based on a perfect grid. It's perfect. It's exactly the same thing. So we picked out so many of those grids, went to every household, talked to every person, said we identified their cats and said what, and then we trapped so many cats and counted so many cats, and we came up with a figure, and it was over 2,000 alley cats in Tell City alone, 2,000 plus. Nobody believed me, and not one of Tell City did not come say thank you, even though I never charged a penny, or the Humane Society never charged a penny for that. It was a lot of work to try to help the problem, and at the same time, other people were saying there's no cat problems in certain areas, and there was. So anyway, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take more than 4 minutes.
Thank you.
But if the county would come up with $4,000, that doesn't give you an accurate account on dogs or cats, either one. Plus,
Well, it doesn't
There's
hold
probably-
anybody accountable for
Right, that's
the
having
bottom line.
10 or 20.
Now, the reason I'm saying that
cats.
4,000 is because I'm going by basis of how many actual
yeah,
people, you know.
The number is,
Right.
yeah, but like, I know of at least 3 cats around my place that are not my cats, you know, but I don't feed them or anything. So there's gonna be a lot of cats that you're not gonna know about, period, unless people just voluntarily call someone. And then the idea of somebody going and taking photos of cats that people own to compare them to cats that are reported as alley cats.
See,
you know,
Danny, I think he'd still have to do that. I'm just replacing the funding from the
Right.
people
Correct.
charging them $5. He still has to register the cats, come out here and take pictures of them and that, because he's not gonna bypass that. It's just the fact that he's gonna try to knock on the door and get this guy to pay him $10. This guy's never gonna answer the door. He's gonna go back 3 or 4 times, continuing to do that. I'm trying to take that burden off of them, because I think what they're attempting to do is gonna take a bunch of man-hours well in
Yeah.
excess of $4,000.
Exactly.
I agree with that.
And I understand that, and I agree with
That's
that.
what I was getting
I
at.
understand, but I'm trying to give, and Pendleton probably, as a unit of our county, is probably, if you go by percentage of cats, alley cats, that's probably the most. But I did the study 10 years ago, so I would like to go back, you know, and I would talk to the mayor about this problem. I'd like to go back and do a study, and I can do a study for Pendleton too, and there's a ways to do that. Even though Pendleton is not designed in a perfect grid, I already identified those, like I said, 10 years ago, and I tried to warn the public that if something wasn't done then, that we were going to have major problems in the future, and we've got them. And it's not just cat problems, and this licensing also helps because you license the dogs. Then there's people that said that's might not, so it works for cats and dogs, but the first step is I have to, whether I like it or not, say by state law, I have to come to you and ask you to consider trying to understand about the county option dog tax, and that's why I'm here tonight. So
Okay,
All right,
thank you.
thank you.
Next item is our
Trustees pick.
Decorum Resolution. We passed this last year for the first time, you know, so we had orderly meetings, and I asked Rod to redo this, and he did. We really didn't make any changes other than we kept it as it was last year. It's just that it will now expire 12/31/22.
Can we just go ahead and adopt that again? Or you have to read it?
I wouldn't think I'd have to read it.
No, I think if you just indicated it.
It's the same as last year. Just change the date, expiration date to 12/31/22.
You want a motion?
I do, yeah, we need a motion.
Okay, I'll make
to
a
adopt
motion,
this
we accept
resolution.
that as written.
I second.
All those in, any discussion? If not, then all those in favor of adopting the Decorum County Council Resolution signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries 7-0. We all need to sign this. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the additional appropriations. County General Fund, Perry County Auditor, $500, auditor salary.
Are we gonna do these individually?
Well, that's the only one I have in
Oh,
there.
okay, I'm sorry.
County General.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
This is something you decided at the prior meeting, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, it was to pay for extra money that was allowed for the county
Duties
auditor at the
that
council's
she's
meeting, December 16th.
incurred.
Brings her in line with the others.
Other two office officials.
So do I have a, oh, yeah, I have a,
Well,
You've had a
you've had
second.
both.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Since I am. Opposed? Nay. Motion carries 7-0. Okay, next item is the additional appropriation out of the TIF number 1 allocation fund, Perry County Redevelopment Commission, 5,000 topographical survey and 5,000 site survey, and site should be spelled S-I-T-E.
David, I have a question. I asked John about this earlier, if this has ever been done before, and apparently this was something new that the board just found out that you were able to use the money to do these surveys. Is that right, John?
Yeah, according to Jason from Indianapolis, who does all of our bond issues, and he's really kind of the expert, if you will, on the TIF. It's not really new, it's just not been utilized that often.
Okay.
And according to him, this is an appropriate measure to continue the redevelopment within the community.
So,
And we've never done it because we've never done anything the direction that we're heading, trying to help solve some of the housing issues
right.
in the
Okay.
past.
I'd like to make
I got
a motion. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
And
Paul.
I got talked a little before the meeting. If this funding comes from we passed this, okay? Let's say funding comes from another source and this is not needed. At the end of the year, does it revert back to this?
Yes.
this- Right, you know, or, you know,
It stays in this fund.
okay. I mean, this is all in its infancy. Nobody knows exactly where we're gonna go with it. or
Right.
What's gonna happen, but we got started.
But once we get the final appropriation from this committee, we will probably be pursuing this very quickly.
Well, I'm on the remote question too, that's why I'm.
So as we have our
I need
meeting.
to abstain on this
Yeah,
vote. but
and we have our
Right.
meeting in January, my intent is that we will actually have nothing else, a bid to accomplish this survey.
Okay.
At one point, someone indicated there was a survey already completed.
Cannot find it yet, I'm still looking,
Still looking.
yes.
If that
I
is
actually talked to
found.
Calvin yesterday, and he cannot find one, but I found one for a property next to it, so I'm gonna go back to Calvin, because I now have another date for him to look kind of through his record. So if I can find one, we're not gonna redo it.
Right.
We're gonna
Okay.
try to do this pretty much on the cheap if we can.
All right. Then, David, I'll make a motion that we approve this pending the outcome of finding the other one.
At this point, we do
Survey.
not have one.
Right.
Do you have a second?
A second.
I've got a couple questions, David, before we go through this.
Okay.
Now, I talked to John a little bit about this also, and he's got round numbers of $5,000. And one thing, in looking back through your old meetings, your minutes and things of that nature, John's here because he wants to know that he can get the money, get it appropriated. He doesn't actually know what his survey will cost him yet. So he puts a number in that he figures will cover him. If he's lucky, maybe it's half that. My thoughts, and I want Pam's input on this, is can we take this money and put it in like, what I would call like a queue? In other words, it's reserved for John to use on his survey. In the event his survey is less, then this money reverts back to the TIF or wherever it came from on any of these government things. so that we don't have a lot of what I would refer to as tailings. In other words, maybe $500 that's left in this account, maybe $500 that's left in another account, when some other entity in the county may need the funds and we've already allocated, and they won't revert back till the end of the year. And what generally happens is the people who were awarded them find another use for them and they don't come back. And what our intent is to support him in his survey and his actions, but we don't want to over-support him when possibly the courts or one of the other entities would also need funding that would be more desirable than what he chooses to spend the money on just because it's overage. Now, I don't want to create a lot of work for Pam, so she has to do things like this, but if it has, it's committed, but it's not actually allocated to that until, and then could we sign maybe a document that says, here, we moved, or some, whatever you have to do legally to
Well,
do
first
support.
off, I'm not sure how I could put money that you're appropriating off to another area until we get the actual bill.
So,
So what's happening is this is not exactly cash. This is just appropriation is all this is. This is not actual cash dollars. This board, when you appropriate, when you're approving an additional, you're just approving what can, up to an amount that can be spent.
Right.
It's not,
Not
right.
to exceed the
So
five
if
thousand.
the price comes in lower and he spends less than that, yes, there will be some appropriation left, okay? But that does drop off at the end of the year when the new budget comes in. Now, through the year, if it has not all been spent, okay, we can actually take the revenue as far as cash-wise and we can reevaluate and push that around so that way more additionals can be allowed later as far as the money that has not been used.
see, I'm thinking what John's asking for is to pay for the survey,
Right.
okay? Not an addition to that.
And that's all you want to pay for is the
Right,
survey.
we want to pay for the
Right.
survey, and he just wants a commitment to know that he can get it paid for.
Mhm.
And secondly, he's gonna do some searching out here to see what he can find, to see if he can keep the cost down. So, we're here at the 1st of January, we're gonna wait almost an entire year if we allocate this $5,000 and it sits there. So, how do we address that so we can pay for a survey, he can get started, but we don't commit those funds that we may need for some other use for another department in the county? Is there a way to do that? Instead of just.
Well,
handing-
that TIF money, Randy, can only be spent for
Well,
certain
Charlie, it
things.
doesn't matter with TIF, we can go in here and say it's a general fund or whatever. It's just in general.
Right.
How things are appropriated. When I looked through all this stuff and read everything, it was all round numbers. And I'm thinking, we never do anything with round numbers. It never works out round numbers. So that's where I'm thinking, you always come in and ask for enough to get the project done, so you don't have to come back and ask a second time. But then you have what I refer to as tailings. It's leftover funds in all of these little accounts.
But they're not funds, they're just appropriation.
Well, they're appropriations, but I
Right.
mean, we can't reappropriate it to somebody else once we've appropriated it, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying, though, that's where I can take what's left, if there's some of that, we can push it, I can rework the annual financial form that I do for the council, which I have not had a chance to get your new one done, and reallocate those to where it goes back in to figuring for my revenue, and change it so you can reallocate it later if you need to.
So let's just say, and I'm not gonna use the TIF funds, because that's kind of a different breed. But let's say John comes in, he asks for 5, it costs him 3, he has 2,000 left over, okay?
Mhm.
It's April. So what's the next step from April through the end of December for the remaining $2,000?
It's just there.
It's just there. That's my concern, because we have $2,000, and someone over here in the courts has something that's, they're holding up with toothpicks and whatever, and we really need to take care of that for them, but our money's committed to something in John's fund that he didn't utilize it for our original intent.
I think you said the word there. Can you just do an intent until he knows the actual price?
Well, see, that's where I said like the
But you do-
Q, if we say, we're gonna fund him up to X number of dollars, and we're only gonna appropriate the cost when that time comes. But he has to know he can get funding from us, or he's not gonna pursue it.
So like you could do a reduction.
Yeah, I can do it, yeah, thank you. I
So
hadn't
then-
thought of that. That's what I can do. With the money, okay, let's take one step back, and I thank you, Teresa, because I kind of forgot about that part. If there is appropriation left, like if there's an excessive amount maybe in one line item, instead of doing additional, we can do a reduction in the appropriation within that fund or that department.
We have done
But
that.
it goes back in then the actual appropriations that you could reallocate.
Is there a way that you can monitor those? In other words, like John's got a process he's gonna go through, and at some point, his survey will be finished, paid for, and over.
I mean, I can do the best I can as far as
I'm
trying to
just- I don't
keep
wanna
track of
make
all
it-
the line items and the
I don't wanna
funds,
make it
yeah.
a big burden on you to do
I
stuff like
mean-
this, but I'm just thinking how we can somewhat use those funds in the event they're needed.
You know, it may come, like, say, each quarter that if we need to, we can run something to see what kind of appropriations are left. I mean, because we have done reductions before. Not a whole lot of them, but we have done them before.
Well,
Maybe it's
how's-
something that every quarter or something we can look at to say, hey, do we have something still sitting where we have to run a budget status of all the departments and
And
stuff?
not that something's in process, we don't need to start taking money away, it's just something that's ran its course.
Right.
It's achieved what we approved,
Mm-hmm.
it's paid for, and it's done.
So John, when will you know what the survey cost?
My plan is to know
Because it's all satisfied.
before February.
Okay.
It's gonna happen pretty fast.
So,
That would be-
so why don't we approve the intent for up to 10,000, but only go ahead and appropriate what he comes up with?
Yeah, so I've been digging for any old surveys for about 6 months, and I've come up with nothing.
Yeah.
So I don't know who else to ask, so we're almost to the point now where we're gonna have to go out and, if you will, bid it out to get the survey, but I want it done as soon as we can get it done. Because I think we're kind of I'm putting myself on limited time to get this thing going.
Can he bid with an intent?
Well,
Or why don't we just?
should be able to,
That's what I thought.
if we're,
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, because if you do an intent, then you guys won't be seeing it till the end of the month, and that's where we have to watch, because some bills or some things that when they're asking for the additional, has to be paid within a certain amount of time, and then I'm waiting until the next meeting, or then you guys are gonna be calling special meetings a lot to get the amount, the total exact amount appropriated.
I say we do it.
Alan has come to us before requesting additional money.
Mhm.
But he didn't know exactly how much it would cost. So we would say we would agree up to this amount as long as it didn't go over that amount.
Correct.
And then you just pay the bill when it comes in, right? Isn't that what we can do here is say?
That's what you've always done.
Yeah.
That's what you've always done.
Yeah.
We have a motion.
and the extra just goes back.
That's what
Yeah.
we've already done.
Yes, that's what you've always done.
Yes, it does.
That's what we've done here.
Yes.
So I think the best way is to do a
It has to.
reduction.
At some point, if you all want to
I
take a
understand
look at
both ways.
line items and
I
stuff
would
that
like to
you've
see
allowed
the
as far as
exact amount.
additionals, which maybe that's a way to keep track, is that we can look at what additionals have been done and kind of keep those as a line item to look at, to say, hey, have these projects been done? And then we can do a reduction through one of your meetings to put that appropriation back in to be reallocated later on if it needs to be.
That works.
Yeah.
That would do the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Again, where the funds are not just laying.
Because
there
right now,
gone.
you wouldn't want to look at budgets that have already been appropriated, because
No, these-
those run all year, but we
Right.
could look at the additionals that
These are
you are
just
now.
additional things that we're spending money
Yeah.
on.
Right.
And I could
John,
probably come up with a spreadsheet as far as trying to keep track of the
There can't
additionals
be
that
a
are being
tremendous
done.
amount of them,
I wouldn't think so. There wouldn't be a
Yeah.
whole lot.
No, some months you do, some months you don't, but, I mean, I can create a spreadsheet that we can keep track of the additionals that are being done, kind of watch where the appropriation is and see if we need to do a reduction.
That's what that box-
John, I've got a question. I know that property was sold by, I think a realtor. And do you know what realtor sold it to the hospital?
I have no idea. I know who's got it listed now.
No, yeah, but I think at the time, that's why I'm just curious whether they would have a little insight to share with you, but I don't remember what realtor handled it.
I can
think
see
Bill
what I
Burnett
can
owned
find.
it.
I can see what I can find, but like I said, I've exhausted all the surveyors. I've exhausted the hospital, PCDC. I've pretty much gone through them all, and I found bits and pieces of parts and pieces here and there. But on the piece that we're looking at, we find nothing.
But I don't have it.
I found today there's a little triangle about 3 acres between the old Bursty Road and 237, totally completed. Topographical, the entire thing is done.
State-owned?
No, it's owned by the hospital. It's all part of that piece, but they only did that little triangle piece. And so my last ditch effort, it was done in 2008, is to call Calvin and say, hey, Calvin, you did this one. Could you look to see if maybe you did something across the road? That's my last choice.
And you've checked with the recorder's office to see, okay.
We're not finding anything. So, but I think that the math that we figured on this 10,000-ish, I think will more than cover it. If worst cases, if we get into things we don't know. And I will tell you, with this whole thought process we're going through as a redevelopment group, this is brand new. I really believe if we can figure out all the details, we can duplicate some of this. But I will not, in my opinion, believe it's something that we want to do on private land. This is land that's got to be owned by a county or a city entity. I don't want to get into the development world. I don't have time for that, number one. And it's not what I want to do, but I want to make sure that this county grows. Because my fear, as I've said in our meetings, if we don't, we become irrelevant. And I've thrown some numbers, and I really believe the county's got to get north of 25,000 people, and the city's got to get north of 10,000 people. Or our hospitals and our schools and our communities cannot function, and we become irrelevant. That's what this is all about. And I hope that your committee, our committee, everybody can get together and really look at this potential growth, not just in housing, but in real jobs, in productive people. If we don't go down this route, again, we have no choice. You know, I moved into this community 30-some years ago, and we have less people here now than when I moved here. And it's blessed our family very, very well, being able to develop a business as we have. But we need to keep passing this on. That's the intent that the Redevelopment Commission has. We're just a small piece of this. Nobody wanted to take it on. We've chosen to take the thing on.
Who actually is named, I forgot from the redevelopments, whose name is this property actually in?
Perry County Memorial Hospital.
Okay.
Board of Directors, I think, is how it's actually listed.
I may check some stuff on my side.
See what you can find,
See
yeah.
if I have
think
any
that's how it's
records.
actually listed.
I may look at some records on our side to see if
Maybe
I can
on
see
Board of
anything.
Directors of Perry County Memorial Hospital or something, but that's actually who owns that piece of property.
I might see if there's anything on my side that might have notes of a survey or something
Yeah.
from back and then.
Anything's
It's worth a shot.
appreciated.
It's
All
worth a
I'm trying to
shot.
do is save us money.
You're right.
Okay, I think we have a motion and a
We had a
second.
motion and a second,
Yes.
but we need to change that motion to include that the money not used to revert back.
No, because that's what happens
Okay,
anyway.
all right, automatically.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
what
So I'll
automatically
stand on my motion.
Okay. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nay, opposed, same sign, nay. Motion carried. Oh, one abstention.
Oh,
you probably
should too.
Well, I can abstain if that's all right. So it'll be 5-0,
5-0, 2
5-0.
abstaining.
2 abstaining.
But I do agree with Randy, you know, sometimes it would make more sense if somebody came to us and said, we need, you know, $9,200 or something instead of, you know, that's always rounding it up.
And I will tell you where we came with that is I wasn't gonna spend this money out of my own pocket. And I wanted to make sure we got this done.
Yeah.
So that's where we kinda came with the round number.
Well, yeah, we appreciate that. I appreciate your comments, Will,
Okay,
too.
next item on the agenda is the inmate housing fund. Perry County Jail, 35,000. Jailer supplement wage, 3,000. Social Security, 4,000. And retirement. Okay, I said that wrong. 35,000 jail supplemental wage, 3,000 Social Security, 4,000 retirement.
Yes.
For a total of 42,000. And that's out of the inmate housing fund.
And we approved it at the last meeting.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
we did
we
the
did.
wages. I mean, as far as the
Right.
increase in the extra pay, yes.
I make the motion we allow it.
I'll second it.
Excuse me again.
Any discussion?
The only question I've got is, again, I was watching the different meetings, and it came up, this is the money that comes from like Vanderbilt County Housing
Yes.
inmates? Yeah. And there was some question about our actual cost to do that. And I think that this money's here, and there's no problem with it, but at some point, we need to determine what our actual cost is to house those people. I mean, both fixed and actual food and nursing and whatever. And I'm not sure you can get down to the last dime, but get an idea to make sure it's worthwhile to the county to sponsor these inmates and that we're not subsidizing Vandenberg County.
Can I speak?
Yeah. You got her down there?
So, for the last 4.5 to 5 years, I've been doing this, taking inmates from Vandenberg County, and it's brought in over $400,000, okay? So, what I want to tell you is there any scientific, I can tell you, the electric is already going to be on, the water's already going to be on, so the only thing we're out really is just the money that we cost maybe $1 to $3 per meal. And I hope you guys don't think that we are not making money, because we are, because you've seen over the years what we have saved by using the inmate housing.
It's not causing additional wages or anything like that?
No, those inmates would be there already. The correctional officers will already be there, whether today that I had 50 or I had 60 inmates. Those correctional officers are going to be there anyway.
So how many inmates do you normally house from Van, just an average number?
Anywhere from 8 to 12.
8 to 12?
Yes, $35 a day.
$35 a day. So
Yes, sir.
you don't have to hire an additional jailer or anything to that nature?
I never have, no.
So, and I assume the electric consumption.
It's already going to be
is
there.
on.
Yes,
The
it's already
water,
on.
You probably got a little more water because they use the facilities, hopefully.
Well, it's based on, I think we get paid for so much, any more over that, but I've never been able to tell anybody been telling me when it was built, it was allowed up to so much. It was, that was built, that pipe or however that works. I'm a police officer, I'm not one of those kind of people. What I'm saying is, that water was going to be there anyway.
Well, yeah, the water, it's however much you consume.
Yes,
And
yes.
the sewer then, but it may be a nominal amount. I don't know, how does your medical provision?
I don't
go?
pay for them. For anything comes from Vandenberg County, if we have to do any medical, and it works out well because Quality Correctional does my jail, but it also does Vandenberg County Jail. Anything comes out of there for any kind of medical for those, today I think I have 10. Any of those 10 inmates from Vandenberg County, any problems at all with medical, Vandenberg pays
Goes
for
back
it.
to Vandenberg.
Yes,
So you basically are feeding them,
that's it.
that's it.
Yes, sir.
So what you feed and will not be more than $35?
A day for each inmate?
Yeah.
No.
So is that all
You
you have
said
is the
$3 or
food?
$4.
It's anywhere from $1 to $3 to $4 an inmate per day.
You say $5 a meal.
We buy a lot in bulk.
But they have like shampoo and things like that, right?
Well, a lot of that stuff is they give that, but a lot of that they buy it on commissary.
Water.
No, we do have indigent that we give them out.
Alan, do they provide the clothing for those inmates from Vandenberg County? or
No, we
you
do.
Provide?
Yeah, because I want them to look like ours.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember what color. I think they're brown. I can't remember. We go to
So there
orange.
wouldn't be any additional laundry, just 10 extra.
Yeah, they'd have to be.
Yeah, I mean, there's
Well-
some, but nothing to, I mean, that laundry would be going anyway.
Right.
You know, whether I have 8 people in that pod or 12 people in that pod, that laundry's gonna be done.
Right.
So I hope that explains.
That answers a lot of my questions, because I was concerned about, to make sure that.
And if you looked over the years, the things that we have brought in, just like, 2 years ago, we went ahead and paid for the entire first installment of our rental vehicles. So it's a win-win.
Well, we have the facilities, we're gonna pay for them irregardless whether they're
Mhm.
full or not, as long as we're not wearing them out and causing us to have to do something.
And question I had previous meeting, you got a long-term commitment from Vanderbilt County to.
Yes.
I mean, nothing in writing, but
Yes, I actually, before the last meeting, I called David Wedding and told him the problems that I was having, not problems, the concerns that you all had, and he says, trust me, they're going to be there.
But they're way behind.
I can tell you, every month, every 2 months, I get requests from Northern Indiana inmates. They want to bring them to our jail. But I'm not doing that. I only do Vanderbilt County. At time, I did bring in some Jackson County years ago, but right now, I'm only doing Vanderbilt County. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries 7-0. Okay, our next item is the ARP 2021 Coronavirus Local Fiscal Fund, Perry County Commissioners, 6,000 applications and administrations, and we are doing that through
Community Foundation.
Community Foundation. And then 355,000 Lauer Software Tax and Financials. This is software for the auditor and treasurer for a total ARP 2021 funds of $361,000. Do you want to talk a little bit about the software?
Yeah, and actually, this 355,000 is short, about 800 and some dollars.
Okay.
Which I probably will just pay out of our computer maintenance fund at this point. The software we have at this point that we're using, we've had since 1989. There is actually really no room for growth or anything to what we have. We do get updates, but as far as we're needing something to minimize our time more, be more efficient, less paper, and be able to move forward with the times as far as timekeeping, sending out a lot more through email, a lot of things that we're looking forward to be able to do. This has just been an ongoing thing that with the treasurer now that we've talked about, and we're all pretty excited to try out and try to get some new things going, hopefully to move payroll, financials, and tax into a better era right now.
So will this consolidate any of your?
This will be, yes, as far as like things that happen in my office as far as financial will feed over into the treasurer's office. And with the assessor's office, where she has the assessments that have to feed over to my office, we have found out that with her on Xsoft and Lau work really well together. So as far as us being able to figure the tax on what she has will feed very well over to us.
And Pam, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming you have a vendor.
Yes.
That's going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming this software's been around for some time.
Yes, yes.
I'm also going to make the assumption that they're going to transfer all the historical data
Yes.
into this new system so
Yes.
you can pull it
Actually,
back
they
up.
are coming tomorrow to do their first data pool.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then I also assume they're going to be providing training,
Yes,
and then also what kind of are they going to support it for a year, 2 years, 3 years? Is that included in this?
yes.
You know, in the event
yes.
you have problems?
Yes, no, maintenance and support is ongoing
For how long? Forever?
for as long as what we have it,
Is
yeah.
there a fee associated with it?
Yes,
on
there
that?
will be a fee, but the only thing after this, all we have to do is pay for the maintenance and stuff.
And what does that run roughly?
I'd have to go back and look. I'm
Just
thinking it was
ballpark.
around 10 to 15,000 a year, I
Annually?
think. It's definitely less than what we are paying now, I do know that. And as
Then-
far as the training and stuff, they're coming on site.
If there's any upgrades or
Software.
new functions, is that included with the?
Yes, they will
650?
actually do those for us, where right now, we have to manually do any upgrades and things that we have. We're not computer experts in my office, we try to do, we do the upgrades, we do the best we can, but they will do that, they're gonna do on-site training. They said they don't care if they're with us 10 years, if we need them down here every year for a project we're doing, they will be here by our side. So this, more support than what we have had.
They
Who's
are,
the vendor?
Huh?
Who is the vendor?
Lau Associates?
they are vending.
North of Indy.
Any other questions? Randy?
I think she covered it. I just want to make sure that
Right.
we're not buying something, they dump it here, they don't get our
Right.
old data in, it's a struggle. We gotta use the old system, the new system, and there's no training, and, you know, it's really, so they haven't
Yes.
sold us a package that we end up pulling our hair out trying to, you know.
Actually,
spend
we,
more
and that
time.
was one of my main things too, Randy. We had several talks going in because that was one of my concerns is the training. Because offices change, people change, and I was worried about new people always coming in, and they said anytime you even get new people, they will officially come down and do on-site training.
And the software updates are important too.
Yes, well, and the system, like I said, we've been on since 1989. We've got no room to grow, and I know there's things that we can do more efficiently than what we're doing now.
I had the same questions, Randy, as you did too.
Well, we got together and put those out.
Did we put those
Greg?
together?
Yeah.
A few months ago, yeah.
It was good.
But I also have a document from Luke that I should share with you too, that it outlines a lot of benefits.
All the benefits
Well,
and pros for it,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah, he did a good job of doing that.
That probably would have stopped some of my.
No,
questions.
no, but I'll share it with you just so that you have it.
They're good questions, Andy.
Absolutely.
Randy,
Yes.
good questions.
Yeah. And I will, you know, between my office and the treasurer's office, we have done a lot of research on this, and we're both very pleased with this company and to what they can offer us. But once we have this paid for, then all we are paying is strictly the maintenance every year. And I have checked into that for sure. It is less than what we are paying now with the current companies we have. And we're on 2 systems now. We'll be on 1.
Do you know how many other counties are using this company for their software?
As of right now, they have 70-some counties.
Okay.
And they just, and including in that 70, I think last year, they just switched over 6 more. And with our training right now, they are going to be training at least another 2 or 3 counties on top of us just this year. So, yes.
Any other questions?
We have 92.
If not, I would call for a vote at this time. All those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I didn't
will
get a first and second.
abstain.
Oh, did we?
I didn't get a first and
We
second
didn't
unless
even
somebody
have a
did.
motion.
I thought we voted on it.
I make a motion
I'll make a motion
to approve the transfer.
Have a second?
Lynn.
I thought we'd already done that.
Nope.
Okay, motion made and second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye. Charlie abstained.
I abstain
One
because I'm on
abstention,
the
so we
ARP
got 6
committee.
and 1 abstention. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the council attorney contract for 2022.
Does that mean he has to get here before 1 minute till?
There was one thing I wanted to add, he should have to sit up here with us. That should have been in the contract.
Rod?
I don't know if there's any more room up there. I'll sit at this side.
I broke it earlier, you don't want to say.
Yeah,
Can
you
you
might want
read?
to tell them, yeah.
Well, this is for, okay, legal service agreement for 1 year. It's $5,200 annually for $433.33 per month,
Which was what was budgeted with it.
which is what the budget is.
I'll make a motion, we approve the contract.
I'll second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
And John, that includes doing legal work for you.
Does it? Well, legal work is actually
Yeah.
$225 an hour.
Oh, yeah, I did read that.
Careful what you wish for.
We don't have any legal issues, so we're fine.
No litigation going on.
Yes.
Okay, next item is the Form 144s. Well, I'm going to do the sheriff and the assessor.
Yes.
Mhm.
You want me to explain them? or-
Now, go ahead.
These 144s, they are salary ordinances, as to what sets the salary salary ordinance that you guys do every year. Throughout the year, you have to do amendments, but we still have to go through the same process as what we do at budget time. It's more or less a formality. These are on the jail, and the sheriff out of county general, and also the jailers out of inmate housing. We're at the last meeting, you authorized the increases in their wages and their pay and that extra supplemental wage. So these forms here are amending the salary ordinance to allow the increases that you've already done. And the one for the assessor, they get paid for their level 2 and level 3 certifications. It has always been paid out in a lump sum. Well, recently, I had gotten information and stuff in this past couple of months. That needs to be included with their salaries now and paid out bi-weekly along with their salary rather than a lump sum. So that's why their 144 is in here, to change the one-time payout to a bi-weekly amount to go with their regular salaries, what theirs is. So there is no signing or anything, it's just a formality where I need a motion on it.
Pam,
So I can amend the
question
salary ordinance.
Real quick.
Mhm.
You said that's for a level 2 and a level 3.
Yes,
Is it for the cost to obtain those certifications?
yes. It's once they have those level of certifications, yes.
So they pay it out of their pockets and then the county's reimbursing them, or how is that working?
No,
Or is it
it's
just
just,
because now they're a higher level?
They get
so
this
we're gonna
extra pay.
Get a pay increase at
Right.
that time?
Yeah.
Now, do they do that on normal work hours, that they're being paid to the county, or is this something outside of that they do in their?
I think most of their meetings, I want to say, I think they're during the day, during the weeks.
So we're actually paying them?
But
to
those are
attend?
some questions that you probably need to more or less ask the assessor's office.
I'm just curious.
Yeah. But they have these level 2 and level 3 certifications too for their job
Right.
of what they're doing. And it is several hours of training that they have to go through
Yep.
for the job that they're doing.
So do you need a motion?
Yes, I need a
motion,
motion to
Make a
approve all
motion to
these.
approve.
Okay?
Have a second?
Second.
Motion by Randy, second by Lynn.
Yeah.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. Okay, moving on to board appointments. First appointment we have is the Alcohol Beverage Board. It's a one-year term, one position, must be at least 21 years of age, bona fide resident of the county for at least 6 years, must not have had a conviction within 10 years of a federal crime, have a sentence of at least 1 year, and then in a Class B or Class C felony for a crime committed before July 14, 2014, or Level 1, Level 2, Level 3, Level 4, or Level 5 felony for a crime committed after June 30, 2014. This does not apply to a conviction that has been expunged. This position does receive an annual salary of $240 plus $3 per application plus reimbursement for mileage in excess of 2 miles to travel to meetings. Our current appointment is Randy McBrayer, and he has submitted a letter of interest. And I think that's the only
That's on the
appointment we have.
I'll make a motion, we
I'll second.
reappoint Randy.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
I abstain.
And
He's
with
my
one,
brother-in-law.
6-0 with one extension. Our next appointment is the Public Library Board. This is a 4-year term, one position, must reside in the library district served by the public library for at least 2 years. Karen Herwig is currently serving. Deidre Mundy has submitted a letter also of interest. I think that Karen is probably under her, I think she was replaced somebody. I think, so she probably has served under 4 years, I don't know.
I'll make a motion for,
That's why I think she replaced somebody.
David, I'd make a motion for Karen to retain that position.
I'll second.
All those in favor of Karen, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. I do think Deidre Mundy would be a good candidate at some point if we ever have anybody
Yes.
resigning. I know last year we had one that resigned, I think we had to fill, but she seemed like she would be a good
Yes.
for the board. Okay, our next appointment says redevelopment commission is 1-year term, 2 positions, must be at least 18 years of age, must be a resident of the county. Current appointments are John Shear and Bill Dickerson. And additional letters of interest are Stephen McConnell, Balaji, Kelly Harding, Cindy Taylor, that's Cindy with a Y, Sherry Flynn, J.R. Flynn, and Randy Cole.
Do you want to do these individually or both names at the same time?
We can do both names, I guess it depends on the names.
I nominate John and Bill to be reappointed to the Redevelopment Commission.
Do I have a second?
Nobody else did.
Randy did.
Motion made and second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
I need to abstain on this, David.
Okay, Paul abstained. I'm voting. So that's 6 with 1 abstention. Next is the American Rescue Plan Advisory Committee. Currently, Luke Thomas. So we have to replace little Luke.
It is year to year, or this is pointing to something, it only runs a few more years anyway.
Yeah, it's just for the committee.
I'd be.
I think it was for the continuation of the term, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
which
So
would
it'd be
be
like
2020.
2024.
So Luke's position's just an extension, is what you're saying?
Yes.
So,
I would be willing to hold that position.
Don't you already?
You're already on
You're
there.
already on there.
This is just replacing Luke.
You're already on the committee.
You're on the.
Oh, this is AR, I'm sorry. I was thinking something else.
No, I would
No.
like to nominate Randy Cole.
Do I have a second?
A second.
All those in favor of Randy, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries 7-0.
Don't even know what you're.
Our next appointment is Perry County Development Corporation Delegate. It's a 1-year term, 1 position. Currently, Earl Williams.
I think this is an error. I think when Luke left, he was on the board, and I took Luke's place.
Yes.
In a meeting. We did this. I'm not a
Teresa and I
delegate.
both had you both down as delegate.
It was my understanding you replaced Luke. He stepped down, resigned,
Yes.
and you filled his seat,
Yes.
but that's what I.
We had Luke down as the board, as on the board of directors, and Erla as the delegate.
Yeah, that's the way it was.
But Luke stepped down.
Right.
He couldn't do it anymore. He couldn't get to meetings. They were at noon. And he stepped down and asked if I would do it. And it was brought to a meeting.
I have to go back on old minutes and look at that.
I've been going to the meetings.
So you've been serving as the board of you've been
Yes.
serving as the board of directors and the delegate then?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I was thinking that someone else took the delegate.
I think they swapped. I watched that meeting too, and I think you swapped.
I think Luke took the
board,
delegate.
Luke took the delegate
I
because
think
there was
Luke
one
took the
time a
delegate.
year.
Yeah.
So-
I remember watching.
So we
So you
need to
need a
back up.
delegate?
We need-
Well, we need to do the delegate, and if whoever,
And if she's on the board of directors, it
she
actually
probably
doesn't
doesn't want to
end.
be the delegate, so it's someone else.
It
that
can be the same person
It
or it
could
can be
be.
different.
I'll serve as a delegate.
So
Do you want the
can we have
delegate?
Randy
Yeah.
delegate?
Charlie said he wanted it.
Okay.
I'd be willing to take that.
I nominate Charlie as the delegate.
A second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'll abstain.
Okay.
So what do we do about the previous vote on Randy?
Randy.
No, Randy's
No, that
on
was a totally
ARP,
different.
different board.
Oh, sorry.
Danny, you're reading like I am.
Yeah, sorry. Didn't
So
have my glasses on.
it's 6 and 1 abstention.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
So
Person-
Erla is the
Yeah, she's.
She's on the board of directors at the
board of
bottom.
directors.
We're not doing early
Okay.
yet.
And Charlie is delegate.
We think
Okay.
currently it's probably Luke there.
I don't have my phone, it's in the office.
I guess he was gonna say something.
I don't bring my.
He still wants to vote.
Okay,
I
are
try
you
not
on
to bring my
personnel
phone.
policy?
Yes.
Yes. Personnel Policy Committee, one-year term, two positions, currently David and Lynn.
I'll make a motion, we,
If they want it.
Yeah, I'm fine.
okay.
And I'll second his motion.
I'm fine.
Okay.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. Plan Commission, currently Luke Thomas, one position. Anybody interested in that?
And that has to be a council member?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
When do they meet?
Do we have any idea on that?
When they have business.
I
They
don't-
meet when they have business.
That could be several, or it could be none.
I don't care.
You want to?
I'll do it.
Okay.
If you need it.
Charlie,
Yeah.
you nominate yourself?
No, somebody, I said I'd be willing to do it.
I'll nominate Charlie.
I'll second that.
All those in favor, Charlie, on the Planning Commission, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
No, he probably
I abstain.
abstains.
6 with one extension. You can vote for yourself.
What, no, I don't do during the election. Why would, no, I'm sorry.
Okay, our next appointment is Indiana 15 Regional Planning Commission, one-year term, one position. Currently myself.
I nominate David H.
I'll second that, if he's willing to take it.
That's all right. All those in favor of David, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. Solid Waste Management District, one position, currently Charlie Ballmaster,
And
but
you
he's
resign.
resigned.
And I'm stepping down from that position.
I'll take that if nobody else wants it.
I'll nominate Paul Malone.
I'll second.
All those in favor of Paul, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. And we also list on here some appointments that are held by virtue of office, they're not expired yet. Community Corrections Advisory Board and Local Justice Reinvestment Advisory Council, 3-year term, 12/31/33. It's a dual position with the Local Justice Reinvestment Advisory Council. And that's currently Danny Bowen. The EMA Advisory Council, 2-year term, expires 12/31/22, and that's currently myself. And the Perry County Development Corporation Board of Directors, which is currently, I think, early, it says Luke, and which is a 3-year term which expires 12/31/22. I did look for that also, and I never found it in the minutes, but I thought it had occurred.
Yeah.
I remember being mentioned in a
I got the
meeting.
information from Erla, once she started attending, you did forward the information of
Yeah,
the
that's
meeting.
what Luke has told me to do.
But if you can't believe Earl, who can you believe?
That's true. Okay. I think that's it.
Did you reappoint your council for contract here?
We just barely did.
Yeah, it just barely passed.
I have a quick question. Did you appoint anybody to the PETA Ball Board, the property tax?
Oh, we're gonna put that, we're gonna talk about that.
Yeah.
That will be
That's the
done in
order of appeal.
February.
It's supposed to be every year annually, 2 appointments by the council, 2
Right.
by the commission.
Your Peterborough Board and
We'll
So
be-
will you accept letters of interest?
Yes,
Yes.
and it'll be the same as it was at the commissioners meeting last night.
Okay.
And we were gonna put that on the agenda.
Well, and another thing.
And the PSAP committee.
And the PSAP committee.
Is gonna be in,
In February also.
I know-
Do we have an appointment on that?
No.
No.
I didn't think so.
no.
Another thing, we're supposed to have somebody from the council on Life Springs too, or Life, whatever it is. Life Health, Life Springs.
Weren't you on that?
Me? No? But we're supposed to have somebody on there, right?
I
Anyone
nominate Danny.
That was brought up.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
That's what happens
We
in
haven't
this.
had anybody on.
Boy,
You're saying Life Springs Board?
yeah, we're supposed to, according to what Luke and I talked about, we're supposed to have somebody on there.
As much money as the county gives them, I would hope we'd have them.
No, Danny, what is the Life Springs Board, what is?
Mental health. It's
Health- health
the mental
service.
health
Okay,
service.
I remember
It used to be.
Maybe he'll text
Southern Hill.
Kelly. Or me.
Yeah.
Ask him.
But I know he and I discussed that.
The plan commission is every other month they meet.
Okay, thank you.
So the Life Springs Board, do you want to do that appointment? I mean, it would be an internal appointment.
We want to do that now?
It's up to you guys.
I made a motion.
Who'd you make?
Danny.
Okay, all those in favor? Or
We
you
need
want
a second.
Second.
I
I'll
second that.
second.
Okay.
Well, that's not what I was,
All those in favor of Danny appointment to the Life Springs, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Okay.
Open your mouth again.
And I do have a request, the commissioners last night, as far as when we take letters of interest, we would like to do the letters of interest the day, by 4 o'clock the day before, so that way we get them in
Business-
time.
the business day before.
So we get them in time and get them processed and ready for you
So if
guys.
we're
for your
meeting on
meeting.
Monday, we need it by the
Yes.
previous Friday.
So ours would be on Wednesdays, basically.
Yes, because it'll be easier that we can get it compiled and get the information back out to you guys, that we accept them no later than the day before. Okay?
No, for this one, it would have been Tuesday at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah, and can I make?
Yes, sir.
I suggest you make that resolution to say for any appointments from here forward.
Yes.
Right.
That way that motion
Take care
carries
of all of
on.
them. Yeah.
Then, as long as it's publicized, so that people are
Right.
well aware of.
Yeah, it
Yes.
should be on the document, clearly stated when the deadline is.
Yeah.
Did you agree on 6 weeks, Greg, for
We
time
agree-
period?
It's a resolution that was done previously.
Right.
I have yet to see the resolution, but I'm looking for it and I'm gonna find it.
There was never a resolution
Okay, that's why,
actually done.
that's why,
Okay.
it was said that it was a resolution,
So that's
but I
why
couldn't
Do-
find
do
the
It doesn't need to be in
resolution.
a resolution,
Do
Ron,
we
as
need
long
to
as
put
they
a
make a
time limit on
statement.
it?
Yeah.
but a 6-week,
As
though.
No,
long
I
as
don't
they
think-
make the statement here and make a motion to that,
Yeah,
okay.
Pam, I wasn't saying you needed one, it was just
Yeah.
stated last night that there was
Yeah.
one and I
Right.
could not find it.
Yeah,
So-
there
Okay.
isn't an actual resolution.
Yeah.
So as long as whoever wants to make the motion that the letters of interest have to be turned in the business day before at 4 o'clock, and this would be for any board appointments now and, or going forward for now.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
And I'll listen to what I said because I didn't write it
Danny,
down.
you don't have to do a letter of interest for the,
When do you want the Board of Appeals, when do you want that before you? Since you only meet once a month, 4th Thursdays, so you want that for your February meeting?
no, I would think so.
We can have a special meeting, but
Teresa, do you know?
I haven't got it up and on yet, but
Do you
I'm
know the
working on it. I
qualifications?
just got the Indiana code today on
Do
it.
you know what the qualifications are for a
Yes,
member to
just
serve?
got it today.
I have some, yeah.
I mean, is every member, I mean, and is there large county versus small county requirements? Because I know a lot of the larger counties have
No.
level 2 and 3
No.
requirements. and
I didn't see
It's,
that in there, but. I'll-
Maybe they don't require them, they just have those people.
There's level 2 and level 3 that are required in there, but I don't remember it saying large county or small county anywhere in
Mm-mm.
there. so.
Some of the
I don't think
larger
it is.
counties have completely professional.
I've got a few bullet points that I'm expecting to put out, but I want to run by Chris Goffman first to make sure that
Yeah.
they're accurate, but from
We're
what
doing
I
that
read
one in
from the Indiana
February.
code that I just got today on it.
So we want to,
They must be at least 18 years of age, they must be knowledgeable in the valuation of property. At least 3 of the, if we can keep the 5-member board, at least 3 of the 5 members must be residents of the county. Not more than 3 can be of the same political party, and at least 1 member.
that Wednesday before the February meeting as the deadline for applications.
And I think that actually February 23rd is when the application should be turned in for the
4
PETA
o'clock
Board.
on the 23rd for your 24th meeting, if that's what you choose to do.
And Teresa, how long do you advertise these? 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
I'll put it up on the internet
But
as soon
I'm
as I
saying
get okay.
normally, what do you do?
About
Um,
6 weeks.
Commissioners, I mean, I try to get it up, they try to go 6 weeks, but they meet 2 times a month.
Mhm.
So with council, it's, and you know, if you want to
It
wait
could
till
be
March,
more.
you can. I don't expect there to be a board meeting till the end of the year for this board.
Yeah,
but-
what I'd like to do is you get it kind of refined and share it with us, and then give ample time for anybody that wants to apply to also have the chance to review.
I mean,
it,
this is,
Whatever that amounts to.
this is the, this is just the first week of January, so you're giving well that and more if you go to your February meeting.
Yeah.
So we can get it to
Because
Chris.
you're meeting early in the month.
Right.
We can get it
But
to
on a
Chris
normal
and have
basis-
Chris look at it
Yeah.
and,
So you're really almost, almost 2 months notice you're doing.
Yeah.
How about Rod?
6 weeks is fine.
Well, she was doing it on the
I know.
commissioner's side, so I just, is what. that-
Shouldn't we have our,
Well, I could, yeah, I could review it as well.
okay.
We'll get you a copy of it.
Now, we have also, we have that PSAP appointment also, or how is that?
I don't.
We
think
don't
we
have one, I don't think.
I think it's
Council does not have an appointment.
I thought the same thing, but I
No.
guess we don't. Anything else?
No, your next
Not-
meeting is January 28th.
Next meeting, January 28th. At this time, I entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried, 7-0.
All righty.
Thank you all for coming. Come back and see us.
John, you.
I just had to hit you like a kid at school.
That's when we reappointed to the.